following reasons as outlined in NJSA 10:4-12. Discussion is about pending litigation matters and any matters falling within the attorney-client privilege to the extent confidentiality is required in order for the attorney to exercise his ethical duty as a lawyer.
And I've had the privilege of teaching some of the teachers in the audience tonight, as well as some people on the Board of Education. To share the words of my students with you. As many of you know, this time of year we take this time to reflect on how music impacts our community, especially during Black History Month. Black history is our history, and our students had to choose a word that represented them. Personally, I want to leave a positive impact on the lives of those around me, and really anyone who will listen. We are slowly growing into this generation that fights for human rights, specifically for peace and equality, especially for those of a different gender, sexuality, religion, or race. We deserve to live in a world where we feel safe, understood, loved, and accepted. The second that we feel any different, we recognize that we need change.
Any questions or comments regarding the HIP report? Do I have a motion? Ms. Acosta?
Excuse me?
Members are here tonight to try to explain to the Board of Education that we want a fair contract settlement. We've been working through the pandemic night and day, putting in extra time, extra hours, and extra effort And we believe it's time that our employer treats us equitably and fairly with a contract resolution and a fair settlement.
I'm sitting in this building that was built in 1927. People such as Mary Rossi, who was a teacher here for over 42 years. She was a principal for over 40. Howard Lawrence Reber, who was the reason why we even have this building. He helped get the architect and the financial support and the community backing to have this beautiful building built. And this is a symbol of our school district. I sit here without a contract and I look at the lack of morale and I look at what's been done, and I can't help but wonder if people such as Mary Rossi and Howard Lawrence Reber, if they were still alive today, what would they think of the legacy they left us? Would they be proud or would they be ashamed? That's all.
Is that we deserve better. Our students deserve best. And at the rate that we're going, we're not going to get best because everyone's going to leave.
How do you feel about the sentiment amongst parents that and students? I hear a lot that this is just if the teachers were to go on strike, which is illegal in the state of New Jersey, that it would prolong the school year.
What do you mean?
Do you think that a strike is worth it even if it would prolong the school year?
If a strike would send the message that they need to hear, I feel that even if it prolonged the school year, it's absolutely necessary.
We need more special ed teachers. We also need to have a contract where we are treated with respect so that other teachers will feel like they want to come to Vineland.
Do you feel like we also could use more guidance counselors?
We need more guidance counselors, we need more nurses, we need more support people. Security.
Yeah.
We need more security.
More security? Anything else you feel we need more of?
Paraprofessionals.
Can you say that again?
Paraprofessionals.
Paraprofessionals?
Yes. And we need to treat the paraprofessionals as the people who are working with our students. We need them. We need to show them respect.
All right. You guys have any statements you want to make for the camera?
I think we should reach a fair contract. If we have money to give administration a raise, we have a raise for everyone.
Thank you to the teachers and the counselors and the nurses and everyone who's still working without a contract. Thank you for all that you do for our students. and we demand a fair contract for our teachers from our school board.
How do you feel about the Board of Education not being here right now?
I think that this is very irresponsible. I think a lot of people have taken time to come and discuss something important, and I think people deserve to be heard.
Would you call it an immature act?
I would. I would call it an immature act.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Leary. Sorry, Mrs. Scott-Spotty? Yes. Ms. Spinelli? Yes. Okay, on to committee reports this evening. Committee reports, starting with Mr. Rivera.
On January 27th at 4:30, the Facilities Committee met. Present were Mr. Yogi, Mr. Zagrana, Mr. Yano, Ms. Leary, Ms. Spinelli, Mr. Farinaccio, and myself. We discussed Mr. Farinaccio updated us on the projects, HVAC projects that are being funded through the ESSER funds. He also updated us on the capital projects that are also being funded through ESSER 1, 2, 3, and grants and capital budget. He also updated us on the lead-based water testing. That this is the third time around since the law came into effect in 2017. And the difficulty that these projects are now facing due to the rising cost of labor and materials.
Any other curriculum, instruction, and technology committee met? Present were Mr. Nato, Assistant Superintendent Nathan Fry, John Sabrana,
10-month typist. Our job searches are early childhood supervisor, facilities management, skill positions, accountant, and assistant coordinator. Grievances, UAW arbitration, and grievance, and as well as some potential litigation. Policies we discussed was policy 2361, the computer network sources, policy
negotiations with the VEA was at the December 8th meeting. Since then, several board members have been made aware of some disturbing comments that I believe I must address with the full board. The sentiment amongst our teachers and staff seems to be that the board believes they don't deserve a raise. I am here to state unequivocally that is not the case. I understand the VEA membership has been told the board members stated teachers do not deserve more money because they have had a year and a half off. I do not recall this statement being made, nor does it reflect our position. We recognize the difficulties of the last 2 years as we all have had to make adjustments to our personal and professional lives during this pandemic. Unfortunately, this struggle isn't just in Vineland, it's felt all over. Since January 21, the board has held approximately 10 meetings with the VEA, including 2 mediation sessions with the state-appointed mediator. The last session with the mediator was held on November 22nd, 2021. At the December 8th board meeting, I reported that the mediation that evening was ended by the mediator, not by the choice of the board. To be clear, the mediator did not end the session because the board would not move on a settlement. The board had made movement that evening as has done the meeting before on October 20th. The mediator's reason for ending the session that night had nothing to do with the board's alleged inability to move towards settlement. I would also like to point out that, as I stated at the December 8th meeting, attempts to settle were made after the November 22nd meeting with the mediator providing a possible settlement offer to the VEA, which was rejected by the VEA committee in December. The board has made fair offers consistent with comparable settlements and data in the area. The narrative that the board is offering no increase or worse, that we believe the teachers and staff do not deserve an increase is false. We have worked in good faith for over a year to provide multiple offers, all of which have been rejected. Many of us have seen negative posts by the VEA members, including one asking that members tonight come with pitchforks and torches to the meeting. These are very troubling statements from those who we can trust and educate our children. As a board, we must not only do what we believe. As a board, we must not only do what we believe is right for those teachers and staff of the district, but also the students and taxpayers of the city, all of whom have suffered over the past 2 years due to the pandemic. The board has balanced the needs of the students who need every resource and the taxpayers who have suffered financially over the past 2 years and struggled day to day to pay their bills.
We're all taxpayers. Every adult in this room is a taxpayer.
And my taxes went up this year.
I believe the parties are not far apart, and I'm very frustrated and upset that our efforts thus far haven't resulted in a settlement. We are open to continuing communications with the VEA and working towards a settlement soon. We have provided fair and comparable offers.
No, not fair. Not fair.
Rhetoric and false narratives distract from the task at hand, which is to provide education for our students. To all of you here and at home, who are teachers and staff in the district, thank you for your efforts, and we look forward to a resolution soon.
Thank them with a pay raise.
Thank you, Ms. Caspari. Moving on. Public meeting report by our board solicitor. Motion to suspend the bylaw 0164 to provide for this meeting only that the public comment for agenda items and any matter be limited to 3 minutes for each speaker. Questions or comments? No. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Roll call, please.
The linkit tests that we are given in reading and math are long, confusing, and they are not accommodating for students' guidance. When we had students entering our second grade classroom, some of them not even knowing how to spell their name, we had to administer a reading test with 7 reading selections. There were 27 questions to answer. Some of them were drop down, some were fill in the blanks, some drag and drop, some multiple choice. In the first 2 selections alone, the students came across words like acid, recycled, and temperature. That might not mean a lot to you that teach the higher grades, but in second grade, that's not acceptable. Linkit does have a text-to-speech option, but those kids don't choose it, no matter how much we beg. And in second grade, we're teaching to be fluent readers, and you should listen to the robot that's reading in Linkit. In math, students have to read or listen to a problem, then copy the problem on scrap paper, solve the problem, then enter the answers correctly back into linkit. It's simply too many steps for children at our level, maybe even higher. We gave a math test today on linkit, on adding double-digit numbers, which actually the majority of our class can successfully do. We're very proud of them. Some of them can even go up to 4 add-ins. It's a big deal. But 55% of our class failed, with scores starting in the low 20s. Tomorrow, we will give the same assessment on paper. And guess what will happen? More students will be successful, and the scores will be more accurate. If the data is not accurate, what's the point? While linkit is something that I don't think is working well, let's shift our focus to something that is, the staff at our schools. I've been teaching for 22 years, and I've seen a thing or two, but I never could have envisioned what has happened over the past 2 years. However, throughout this extremely trying time, the staff of Vineland Public Schools has stepped up to the plate. Kudos to our school nurses. Our nurses... able to care for students and staff with a smile. Inhalers, COVID questions, bumps, bruises, upset bellies, all while covering a full quarantine room, and she's got it. Kudos to our kindergarten, first and second grade teachers who implemented not 1, but 2 new programs, Foundations and Social Studies, while teaching kids who have never had a normal school year. But we're making it work. We always do. Speaking of those new programs, kudos to the second grade teachers who had to figure out how to fill it.
Can you finish up?
I will. I have a couple more ones. They've had to fill in a lot of gaps and foundations because it's a program that relies on kindergarten, then kindergarten and first, then kindergarten first and second. It says review from first grade. There was no first grade. Kudos to the teachers who have figured out how to maximize class space while keeping desks 3 feet apart or 6 feet apart, or it's okay if it's under 14 minutes, while there's a push for small groups in all content areas. Kudos to the staff that's been pulled from their regular classes to cover for classes without subs. Teacher never knew that she was qualified to teach Spanish, but she figured it out. Kudos to the staff members that stay after school to help look after the students whose buses have not arrived on time, sometimes till 5 o'clock, while they should be cooking dinner for their children. Kudos to the teachers who pull double duty as in-class teachers and virtual teachers, figuring that out. I have one more point. I'll even skip that one, and I'll go to the end. At our house, we sometimes watch little TV during dinner, but we play a game called Vertellis, which is a card game where they ask in-depth questions trying to get meaningful conversations between parents and children. The other night, the question was, what is something you regret from your childhood? Without hesitation, my 11-year-old daughter said, growing up during COVID, I feel for her and all the other children that are trying to navigate this, but I know it's our job as a teacher to get them through this successfully. But we need your help, we need to be heard, we need you to understand how hard we've worked and that we're doing the best we can for this and for so many reasons. We deserve a fair contract now.
I have proudly served the children and the families of the Vineland community for 21 years. I am here to talk to you tonight about the impact this pandemic has made on the littlest learners of our district. People might think that children in this age group, 3 to 5-year-olds, are unaffected by the pandemic. They were just babies or young toddlers when the pandemic first occurred. This year, I am seeing more physical aggression, tantrums, and the inability to verbally communicate. It has been studied that during the pandemic, learning loss has affected 3 to 5-year-olds more than any other age group. This is because learning takes place naturally in a physical preschool building. Children learn skills like problem solving, staying on task, and self-regulation. These are skills that are not taught through a computer. This year, I was filled with hope. We would return to school 5 whole days a week. This came to an abrupt halt for my class in mid-October when we had to go into quarantine for 10 days. My whole class shut down. No problem. We pivot to virtual learning. We all adjust. Then again, a few weeks later, in mid-November, my class must close again, and we must return to another 10 days of virtual learning. I would like to mention, in preschool, these two disruptions do not include other children who have had to do a 10 or 20-day quarantine because of getting COVID or COVID exposure. Okay, so I just said learning takes place naturally in a preschool setting, but yet all these disruptions have taken place. Any early childhood educator knows that children thrive when they are provided with a stable and consistent routine. Sadly, the routines of most preschool children have been broken numerous times this school year. The emotional toll this has taken on our students is causing behaviors we would not normally see in a typical school year. I thank you all for your time this evening, and I invite you to stop in and visit one of our fabulous Vineland preschool classrooms.
Debra Waldorf. The topic will be contract negotiations.
Good evening. I'm a parent and a teacher and live here in town, so that's here today. During negotiations, someone may have claimed that teachers just had a year and a half off. Why do they deserve more? Anyone that has the audacity to make such an uneducated statement has never been a teacher. Teaching online takes twice as much prep time. Writing the lesson plan on Genesis, finding materials shareable online through a video conference, creating materials from scratch when others don't exist, teaching students how to use the platform, site, or program as we are using it, transferring grades from Google Classroom to Genesis, over-planning for when meticulously curated materials and sites just suddenly don't work. Managing numerous levels of student readiness to advance in a lesson or project due to inconsistent attendance. We taught ourselves and our colleagues a completely new way of teaching and learning, all on our own time and dime. That's right. And did the same with our students, often meeting with them after hours online to work out technical and academic issues. And the hybrid teaching, we learned to fly the plane while building it in the air. Managing students in the classroom and those online at the same time is an added challenge. If we are not physically in the room with a student, we are not responsible for what they do or don't do. The likelihood that those online students are having issue-free internet connections, very low. And let us not forget the guilt we put on ourselves for not being able to clone ourselves to teach a physical classroom and students in an online environment. And while we keep that plane in the air, we worry about catching COVID or infecting our loved ones. Our classrooms don't have enough space to properly distance, and the students aren't wearing their masks properly anyway. Not requiring students to attend the online classes during statewide quarantine, passing everyone for the year, pressuring us to give students 50% credit with no work to show for it. These are slaps in the faces of the students that did show up and at least try to do the work. All this doesn't sound like a year and a half off. These contract negotiations reveal a cold truth. You also don't value us, the teachers.
Contracts, if you can come up behind Monica.
Oh, wait, okay, I'm ready. Okay, so listen, really quickly, my name is Sonia Fuller. I work over at Sergeant Dominic Pillar School. I'm a 6th and 7th grade social studies teacher. Welcome to all the new board members, and congrats to all of you with leadership positions. I did write a speech, but I don't do that well with it. So I'm just going to glance through really quickly, so I only have 3 minutes, and just say that. Excuse me, point of order. If I could just ask the speakers, there are a few of us that can't understand. It's probably because of your mask. You want me to take it off? If we pause that clock, can we put some time back on the minutes? Put some time back on it. Instead of taking the wrong way. Okay, so listen. Oh, a little bit. Oh, back on. Okay, here. Am I here? Is this good? Okay. Can we put some time back on the clock? Because I lost some with the mask situation. Can we roll it back? We'll restart the clock for you. Okay, thank you. All right, so you already know who I am, and you know, it was very disheartening to hear the alleged statement that we just had a year and a half off. Why do they deserve more? Well, listen, we are holding it down in the classroom. I've said this before, it's my 3rd time here speaking. And on top of it, we've gone 155 days without a contract, and we've shown up. Right? We've shown up, we've done the hard work, we've held it down. You have other teachers that due to what is, you know, non-supportive environment, they're leaving our district. These are experienced teachers that were tenured and that would have stayed if they felt supported, if we didn't have to come in every 3 years and do this fight. It doesn't matter what the other districts are offering their teachers. You know what we do. Offer us more. Be that district that everybody else has to rise up to, right? Instead, in my school alone, we've lost 3 teachers. Not because they left the field, because they went to CC Tech, where they're being appreciated, right? One of them was the teacher of the year, and she out. And that has more to do with the district. When I leave here, because I didn't get that cost of living raise, I didn't get a bonus, I barely got a thank you, I'm going out to do Grubhub or DoorDash because I can't afford to live, to pay my bills. And you guys are, you know, you were able to give raises to certain people in district, but not to us. That is true, I want to be a professional. That's what I went to school for. Heroes don't get paid, and they don't have contracts. I don't want to be anything but a professional. I want to be paid for my work. I do an awesome job. I will pat myself on the back. You can talk to any of my students. They mostly love my class. I've invited you guys out to C208 at Hilla. I have yet to have anybody step a foot in my class. We deserve more. We don't want to hear, the thank yous. We don't want to hear what other districts are offering. You know what we do. And we've already had to close down the district twice, for staffing shortage. Did you think to ask why you have a staffing shortage? The teachers that are leaving because they're unhappy. You're not giving what we want. They love the kids. They don't like this bacon. I spent $768 last year on filling the gaps of what my curriculum did not have. And I didn't know. So if that statement was said, they've already had a year and a half off. Why do they deserve more? Because we did more. We did so much more that admin, central admin, we made them amazing enough to get their raise. We deserve
so I'm speaking on their behalf. This came from them. In third grade, I knew that my lifelong dream was to become a teacher. I wanted to spend each day in a room full of kids, teaching them new skills and watching them grow as individuals. It took me a long time to finally reach my goal after attending college for many years while working full-time and raising a family. To me, it was always worth the struggle and the countless sleepless nights. Unfortunately, nothing could prepare me for what teaching really entailed. As teachers, we not only prepare and deliver engaging lessons, we are counselors, we are behavior specialists, we are role models. We are even delivery drivers for students who needed school supplies during the pandemic. I want you to know that I buy classroom supplies with my own money every single week. I even buy my own copy paper. That's legit. We don't have any more copy paper in our building. I make house visits on evenings and weekends, and I speak to parents until 9 p.m. at night some days. Trust me when I say that we did not just have a year and a half off. And I address the board today because I want you to know why we deserve more, deserve a decent raise that you are not giving.
Next up, we have Carrie and Haley, the topic will be VEA. If I can also have Pamela English come up behind her, her topic's going to be contracts.
Hello everyone, my name is Carrie Haley. I have been a teacher in our district since 2011. I want to start off by explaining how I became an educator in Vineland. I'm a Millville girl. I have to admit, I still bleed orange and blue, much to the dismay of my peers on Team Jersey Day. They don't call it the longest surviving rivalry for nothing. When I was offered my position at Vineland, I also had the chance to teach in my hometown. I had a decision to make, and one I did not take lightly. What eventually swayed my opinion was the overwhelming sense of pride that interviewing teachers and administration had for their school and district. When they found out I was a Millville girl, they immediately said, "It's not your fault, you just don't know what you're missing. We'll change that." Something about these individuals was refreshing and honest. They were happy. They were proud. They were a family. It was as if Vineland School District was a bright flaming candle that grew stronger with each moment those school doors opened. You could see all of this throughout the hallways with pictures of past teachers displayed, the student versus teacher incentives, the variety of clubs and activities taking place, and so much more. Accomplishment celebrations were numerous. It is simply amazing what a community can do when everyone feels respected. Teachers went above and beyond because they truly enjoyed being a part of something greater than themselves. Flash forward a decade. There are less opportunities for teachers to make those solid connections with students and each other. Clubs, activities, and field trips are not as prevalent. Instead of being a club advisor, a teacher might have to be forced to take a part-time job to make ends meet. Instead of staying after for activities, a teacher might have to leave to pick up their child from school because they cannot afford aftercare. Instead of hands-on field trips, a teacher might be forced to resort to a virtual tour. This has led to many vested teachers to make the hard decision to accept other opportunities in other districts. I myself have been approached for these other opportunities. I am sure we can all agree that these past few years have been destructive to all involved. We have all had to find ways to adapt and overcome. We're all tired, we're all overwhelmed. The happiness and pride that was a bright, beautiful flame that pulled me into this district in the first place is slowly fading. What happens if this flame goes out completely? Has it gone out for you? Do you know what a flame needs to survive? Oxygen. If you let it breathe, it will not only grow in intensity, but in strength. One flame can light 1,000 more. I stand up here today to remind you that our flame has not yet been snuffed out. It is very weak, it is fragile, but there is still hope. We all need to work together, members of the board, administration, educators, parents, students, and the rest of the community. I am asking you to be the candle that passes the light along. Make the best decision in regards to our contract for not only our teachers, but our community. I implore you to give me a reason to be proud of our district again. Give this noble girl one last opportunity to be a proud Vineland girl. You might even catch me sporting a Vineland jersey on Team Jersey Day. Thank you.
Good evening, board members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Pamela English, and I've been a middle school teacher for 20 years now. It's crazy to think that. I'm a proud product of Vineland Public Schools, K-12, and I was so excited when I started working here. I'm coming in today with concerns about our non-existent VEA contract. I allegedly heard recently that some people in this country think we haven't worked in the last year and a half. Wait, some people in the state? No, some people in the city. No, maybe some people in this room actually allegedly think that we did not work in the last year and a half and that we don't deserve more. I feel disrespected that somebody possibly said this in this room that thinks we did not work. I tried to find out if any of the board members were teachers. I went to the Vineland.org website, and on there, all I found was their email addresses and a slideshow of their headshots of them all. For the record, I don't live in Vineland, so I didn't get like the ballots and see what everybody does and everything. For the record, when we had legal attendance days, we in fact worked harder than ever. We lost sleep wondering if our students were okay. Yes, the students had half days, but us teachers used the afternoons and even some evenings to reach out to those that didn't show up for class, those that were missing work. We met in small groups with students that couldn't log on in the morning because they were at a grandparent's house that didn't have internet or missed class due to a parent's work schedule and so much more. We also learned how to navigate the virtual world of teaching without training. We had to modify lesson plans to make it easier for students to understand from a distance. We all know how this pandemic has affected our economy, the school district staffing, families losing loved ones. Me personally, I lost my grandmother in May of 2020 from it. Mental health, and so much more. I feel guilty if I have to take a day off because I know a coworker will probably get pooled to cover my classes. We have short teachers every day. And every day for about a month, we received a phone call about the bus driver shortage. I wonder if our community really knows what's happening in our schools. Where are the phone calls that notify parents that there are teacher shortages daily? Special education teachers being pooled almost daily to cover classes, and leaving their 504 or IEP students without their service. Behavior that never existed before. Disrespect from them when we have to constantly remind them to wear their masks properly or dress code issues. We go live for quarantining students, which doesn't sound as easy as you might think it is. You log into the Meet, then unlock the Meet code for your students, then click the present, to present on the TV in the room. then share the presentation in the Google Meet. Many times getting kicked off in the middle of your lesson only to have to restart the whole process again. We are stressed out with the amount of work that we have and making everything virtual, chasing students who don't show up virtually for work, trying our best to give the best education to our students. We are not feeling respected by a board that doesn't think we deserve any raise. Our country makes some not smart decisions daily, but they did decide Social Security on disability or elderly got a 5.9% increase in the cost of living in their checks every month. I've heard about hundreds of districts across the country honoring and respecting their staff with $1,000 bonuses or decent raises or both. Why can't our board agree that we are worth it? We are still working and we need a decent raise. Thank you.
Next up, we have Sonia Martinez at the top of the
Come up to the mic behind her. Her topic will be teacher's contract as well.
Good evening. I want to make sure you see me. I want to make sure I see you. I am Sonia Martinez, bilingual ESL special education teacher at Vineland High School. Proud member of the NJEA for the last 25 years, even prouder member of the VEA for the last 11. I am a member of both Vineland High School's ASP and IRS committee, and a member of the district's equity committee. I sit on the executive board of New Jersey TESOL, New Jersey BE, as a member of the advocacy committee, and I have been appointed to the bilingual advisory committee for the state of New Jersey for 2 terms. I've been honored by the bilingual education in the past for my work as a bilingual teacher. My career as an educator spans more than 4 decades, as I started teaching in Madrid State 42 years ago. I love my job. I always have. I address you this evening to tell you, because I regard the task I complete every day. I won't, because I firmly believe that you don't care. I will tell you that we Vineland teachers are warriors. We have come to work during a raging pandemic to serve the children of this community to the very best of our ability. We have reinvented ourselves and how we teach. We have put the students first, in some cases even before ourselves or our own families. Every day we're asked to do more, and we rise to the challenge and keep the ship afloat. We do that, let there be no doubt, because without us, the ship sinks. You would think that our employers would recognize what we do, be deeply grateful, and compensate us fairly, because that's all we're asking for, a fair compensation. Instead, you've been proven to be unwilling to do just that. This saddens me, and it angers me too. I honestly don't know how we all keep on going in this environment, how the energy is not sapped from our jugular, how we keep on smiling, planning, assessing, researching, counseling, consoling, teaching virtually, teaching in person, teaching hybrid, every single day, giving, when we are treated with such contempt and disrespect. I am grateful beyond measure for the wonderful career I've had. I cannot imagine spending my life not in the company of young people. Thankfully, my love for them, for this community, because I am a Vineland girl, my colleagues, and for what I do, continues to trump your disregard for me and for us. But I caution you to please not take it for granted. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Carole Pennington. I'm a 4th grade teacher at Many School and a teacher in good standing with Vineland Public Schools for 20 years. I'm adding my voice to all of my predecessors. I don't have anything to add that they haven't already said. I'm speaking tonight to request a fair contract settlement now that includes fair raises. My speech has all the things that we've done, double time, learning the Google Meets, doing the self-training, working with our colleagues, finding any way we can, spending many, many hours beyond our contracted day to learn these methods in order to continue to instruct our students effectively as we had always done before. I too was going to mention the not working for the past year and a half, but I respect Mrs. Carter's body, and if that wasn't said and we were misinformed, so be it. We still need a contract, and we need it with fair raise, and that's what I'm asking for. Thank you.
Her topic will be contract workloads. If you can come up behind her, thank you.
Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to address this meeting. My name is Laura Spinelli, and I am a resident of Vineland, taxpayer, the mother of 4 Vineland public school students. I'm a business owner, and I work with children in our community as a basketball coach and Sunday school director. I am here tonight in support of our teachers, counselors, school secretaries, and nurses. My points that I will make come from direct experience over the past 10 years, as each of my children has started and progressed through 4 different schools. They've experienced successes, failures, good days, bad days, a pandemic-induced virtual school year, and many other changes. What has remained the same, whether on Zoom or in person, is the caring and professionalism of their teachers, school secretaries, counselors, and nurses. These same individuals have met the students where they are and provided them the tools necessary to grow and improve, have shown them the value of perseverance through uncertainty, and leaned into their craft and experience and provided solid, thorough instruction. Through all these challenges, impressing upon our children that they are valued and cared about. The job is long, and more is expected each year, with less provided to facilitate reaching expectations. Budgets are tight, and teachers struggle to maintain needed supplies in their classrooms, often purchasing them at their own cost. Yet these professionals, they continue to push and refuse to fall short and fail their students. I am concerned that this model is impermanent unless we, as a community, provide support to our teachers and show them that they are also valued and cared about. These same teachers, counselors, and nurses are the heart of our students' educational experience. Their professionalism has a direct correlation to the outcome of the students entrusted to their care. Eventually, these students will become adults who will function within that outcome as members of society and our community. I implore you, as members of our school board, to negotiate purposefully and intentionally, keeping our children and our community in the forefront of your minds. I beseech you to act as representatives of a community that values and respects our teachers, school secretaries, counselors, and nurses, and to remember that the investment in our teachers, school secretaries, counselors, and nurses is also an investment in the future of our children and our community. Thank you. And thank you, teachers.
Good evening. Let's just boil it down to the facts. You have the money. Please stop acting like you don't. Stop playing this game. It's public knowledge. Millions and millions of dollars you got as a gift even. Pay us more. Pay us what we're worth. More than praise, we need a raise. Why does it matter how much surrounding district unions make? You know what we do. Let's settle this now. Inflation, outrageous. Cost of living, outrageous.
Gas. Outrageous. Again, settle now. Why do we have to keep going through this? Teachers, nurses, service providers, secretaries are at a breaking point. We've done so much to keep this district afloat. Settle now. You have the money. Stop playing the games. As Carrie said, we need oxygen to keep this flame alive in the form of a fair settlement. Thank you.
Second jobs, ESPs, and new hires.
Good evening, everybody. I'm a Vineland High School teacher for 22 years. I am a parent of a 6th grader at Memorial School and a 2017 graduate of Vineland High School, and I live in town. The past 2 years have been a challenge, and I wanted to share with you a partial list of the many new tasks, skills, training things that I have acquired and done, and that we're doing daily in our classrooms now. So, learned how to use breakout rooms to do group instruction when we're on the computer, how to create Google Forms and use them for surveys and tests, uploading documents, uploading YouTube videos, sharing audio files, creating appointments, creating calendars, streaming classes, using Edpuzzle, using Screencastify, creating reading videos of me orally modeling for my students, using VCL recording for YouTube, soliciting family members to be Shakespearean characters and read with me so I could record for my students, using a Cami tool to create interactive handouts for the students to write on and for me to write on and model while I'm screen sharing and splitting screens and looking at them and sharing my screen to them, and I've taught myself how to do all of this on my own time. I recorded videos and went to play them back and realized there was no sound because I had no one helping me, so I recorded them again and again. And I learned how to do reading inventory data and entry, taking attendance in person, virtually, taking attendance for students that are quarantined, and then opening Google Classroom and setting up meets with them while I have 25 kids in front of me that are asking for things too. Also, opening Genesis, opening the screen on the TV, opening the laptop for kids to log out to go to the bathroom, and standing in the hall and making sure everybody's where they're supposed to be because there's not enough security guards in the hallway. Troubleshooting laptops. To cut it a little bit shorter, because I'm running out of time, I've become a movie recorder, editor, audio tech, counseling liaison, reference for finding Chromebooks, Wi-Fi access, mental health services, truancy problems, and there's more. But in all this time, my colleagues and I have been professional. We've been advocates for kids. We've been teachers. Please acknowledge that when the world became uncertain and scary for all of us, teachers have continued to care for our community's children with our expertise, our skills, our willingness to adapt and adapt and adapt to every request and challenge. Please come to a fair contract settlement.
Stevenson, Vineland High School biology teacher. I can't tell you how happy that made me the first time I could say that to my
parents, and to the people that I consider to be my relatives and friends. I was hired in 2005 to do this job, and I remember saying to my cousins who graduated from Vineland, my mother who graduated from Vineland, my 11 aunts and uncles who graduated from Vineland, that I was a Vineland teacher, and they were so proud of me. Now, I'm not sure if I'm proud of me. I have kids who are dealing with secondhand trauma. I have kids who need a second teacher inside the room that is accredited and can teach special ed. I need to make sure that they're taken care of. And to do that, I have been working as much as I can. But I wasn't alone. I want to say thank you to the school nurses who were there when the kids had problems, no matter what it was. It could have been physical, but most of the time it wasn't. It was just in their minds, but they needed somebody to talk to. I am so thankful to the counselors who were there so that they could take kids without appointments, dropped everything so they could speak to a student that was in crisis. I want to say thank you to the secretaries. Not only do they help the people who come in and the administrators and the teachers, but they are also there to say something nice, even if it's how are you doing, to every student that walks inside of that office. I want to say thank you to the guidance counselors. So when I say I don't know what I can do to help these kids pass, because no, giving them a 50 is not really passing, but them actually learning the material is passing. And I wanted to say thank you to the CST, our child study team, who have constantly worked, who have found a way to make an IEP when they could not even meet with the parents, but they could get them on the phone, and they had 2 or 3 of the different screens trying to make sure these kids had what they need. Those are the people I want to thank you, because I'm telling you, I'm dealing with second-hand trauma. Because I have kids who can't sleep at night. I have kids who come in and they need to vent and they need to talk to me. I'm dealing with sleeplessness myself. I'm dealing with making sure and guilt because I can't get to everybody in a 50-minute period when I have 23 kids who all need my time. I am tired, but I know I'm going to go on because I'm going to do it again tomorrow. I'm going to set my alarm, I'm going to get up, and I'm going to put a smile on my face, and I'm going to help the child that asks me who needs help, and I'm going to teach every single one of them. I am also here because there are teachers out here who have to work a second job. I just had a teacher who told me I can't come tonight because I would not have food on my table if I did not go to my second job. We shouldn't have to have people like this. We have enough money. We have the resources. And one of the things, just think, maybe we need a job fair so we can get some more teachers. Maybe a job fair just for special ed teachers.
Next up, we have... Good evening, everyone. My name is Stevenson-Kinder. I've been a teacher for 19 years, 20 years total teaching. I am a special ed teacher at School. I am here on behalf of my colleague who was unable to make it tonight, and she had written something she asked me to read for her. Hello, my name is Jenny Denny. I've been teaching for the Vineland District for over 13 years and currently teaching 7th grade language arts at Pillow. Though I could not attend tonight's meeting, I urge you not to take my words lightly. Teaching is my profession and has been my passion for many years. Teaching has changed, though. It is nothing like it used to be. The pressures of teaching during pandemic times, combined with a lack of support and respect, have left teachers feeling defeated and burned out. This is unacceptable and a cause for real concern. There's a mass exodus of teachers throughout the district due to lack of support, compensation, and appreciation. Pillow School alone lost 4 teachers in a span of 2 years to higher I used to be excited to come to school each day, and now I'm making a difference. Unfortunately, that feeling is diminishing. Many of my colleagues feel the same. I believe it's possible to get that passion back again, but not without your support and a true understanding of what teachers do on a daily basis. When we were told to teach virtually, we rose to the challenge and found new ways to make teaching possible in a pandemic. We spent countless hours on Google Meets and Zooms, tirelessly reaching out to students and parents, teaching ourselves new programs, and the list goes on. Meanwhile, we had our own worries and families to take care of. Speaking of families, I am a mother of 2 young children, as well as take care of my daughters. There are not enough words to describe the hardships that many teachers had to face during this difficult time. So please, do not discredit this time with the notion that we had a break. Then, hybrid learning began, and once again, teachers met this new idea with grace, proficiency, and professionalism. We continue to teach hybrid and try to meet the needs of students who have fluctuating attendance. We continue to teach hybrid and try to meet the needs of students who need our help on a daily basis. Meanwhile, teachers are being asked to cover classes multiple times a week, which results in the inability to support their own students' needs. There's no consistency, but here we are trying to make it work. Our workload has doubled, not only because of the pandemic, but other additional requirements put in place. This is the world we are asked to teach in now. Think about it. Has your salary changed over the past 3 years to reflect an increase in tasks and the cost of living? Taxes, fuel, groceries, construction materials, and etc. have all increased due to supply and demand. All that we ask is to be heard, seen, and fairly compensated for a career that is changing with the times. When is enough enough? When will someone who has the chance to make that change? Aren't we all working toward the same goal of providing our students with an exceptional educational experience that will prepare them for their future? It's time to change the narrative. Let's show this community that teachers deserve respect and fair compensation, especially during a time when teachers have stepped up to meet the demands of an ever-changing world. Settling on a fair contract for teachers is an investment to the city and our students. We have all been through enough. The time to settle is now. Thank you for your time.
Administrative staff, and my fellow colleagues. I'm happy to be speaking to everyone tonight. I just want to tell you about a recent experience in my kindergarten teacher. I see 5-year-olds, especially, they need someone to listen to them, someone to hear their questions, their thoughts, to have a voice. Let's look at one of my students. Let's just call him John. He wants to be heard, and he wants to know he matters. He's working to the best of his ability. His language arts skills are average, maybe less than average, like half of the students in my class that fall in that category. Our language arts linkit test for the second marking period has 82 questions. And even though 52 of those questions are just asking what letter this is, they first have to push the blue box to hear the question. Then they have to pick out of a possible 4 answers, and then hit the arrow to get to the next question. It becomes a grueling process to answer these questions so that we can have data. The exercise for John and for me, his teacher, guiding him through it is painful. But perhaps the experience of logging into his computer deflated any interest and damaged any ability. the sign-in, John has to, which usually I have to end up doing it for all 19 of my students, no matter what skill they possess, to sign in with his email, which includes 7-digit ID number, first initial of his first name, his last name, the shift button for at Vineland.org. And then, that's not it, because then he has to put his password in. His password, which is also articulated, is the first 3 letters of his last name, and then his ID number. Some students in my class know their last name. Most don't. They call their mom, they call their dad, they call themselves by their names. They don't know their last name, let alone the first 3 letters. It's so hard. It's so bullying. It's just the truth. John is just one of the many who labored to get logged on to the linkit test. This is just a glimpse into Vineland School District experience for the teacher and young students. If it seems filled with anguish, then I have portrayed it accurately on both the students' behalf and my accountability as their kindergarten teacher. Pile on this with countless hours of assessment. This includes 17 grades for their report. And emerging, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go over 3 minutes. I'm going to stop there. You've heard all the assessments over and over again. And I just want to say that I'm so happy to get the chance to communicate, to hear, and for everyone to understand what's going on so that we can make informed decisions. I think communication is the key, and today I ask you for a solid commitment in the form of a contract that this was all worth it.
They're walking out. They're walking out.
Before we get to them, just read the items. I'm sorry, personnel items.
Any questions or comments on personnel item 1.1? Oh, okay, go ahead.
Construction training program. I know we're all excited about this program. It's been come for a long time. However, in hiring instructors and forward,
Everyone's left.
some questions raised at the hiring process.
Teachers.
We have information about this process. I wish you provide
Excuse me, sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Sobrano?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Cataspati?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?